Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Help the Helpers on this wonderful, my favorite holiday, MLK Day, and that's in the US. But we're celebrating this morning from all over the world a very precious, precious teacher. And we're all here together, and I'm so looking forward to it. And we're going to start with Yao.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you so much, Lynn, for the introduction. I every Monday, Help for Helpers is a haven. Every Monday, Help for Helpers is a haven, and we all can use support of a haven. Today, especially, feeling that energy that started last week on his official day. So I want to just invite us just to embody that haven that is this space. Bring your hands up here. I want to invite you to bring your hands up here. And then I want to invite you to slide your hand to your elbow. Slide to the elbow and then come back up. Slide back down to the elbow and come back up. All right, everybody's got the motion. So we're going to do just one good round together. And we're going to finish off after we come up and down 3 times. We're going to finish off with this. Okay? All right, let's begin. Haven together, back up. Haven together, back up. Haven together. Let's finish it off. Ah, there you go. That's it, Mary. Yes. Do what you need, relax, get into this space that we are all in together. I want to thank all of you all for the work that you do, the service that you give to others, and the work that you do for yourselves. We can't do this unless we do the work. It's part of the obligation. And sometimes it's not easy. So I really appreciate everybody. And thank you so much for coming in today. I wanted to start off by sharing a clip. So less than 2 minutes, like a minute and 50 seconds, to give a little bit of a view of our gathering here today.
We want it that way or not. We all tied together. Every Negro in America is a little white, and every white man in America is a little Negro. The Negro needs the white man to save him from his fears, and the white man needs the Negro to save him from his guilt. We need each other.
People sometimes seem to think that nonviolence was very endemic to the African American community as a way of life, when in fact it was not. And even Thurman is very clear that nonviolence was a kind of a cultivated experience for most rank and file people, including leadership.
I would agree that Howard Thurman was a saint of the movement.
He gave us the basis for the march, that we know why we march, the principles upon which we march, how we march, and what we do after the march.
He helped to establish the philosophical framework of how to struggle. You cannot let the oppressor break your spirit, then make it break your bones or your arms, but not your spirit. That's the stuff of Howard Thurman.
Dr. King was not completely committed to nonviolence. When I say not committed, he saw it first as a tactic until he was fully converted to it as a lifestyle. And my father helped me with that, to understand that early on, people saw things as a tactic. This is the best way. Dr. King then moves to, this is a lifestyle. And that is a direct connection to Thurman's conversion. And here is a nonviolent revolutionary.
Thank you so much. Let's just let that distill within us. Just for a couple of seconds. As the title of our gathering today, significant word is resonance. How has this resonated with us? Not just with hearing this clip, but how has the life of Martin Luther King Jr. resonated with you? That resonance, that timbre, that sound, that wave that is our life, that primordial piece of time that never stops. I'd like to now pass it on to my Dharma sister, my focusing sibling, just an all-around great person that makes me laugh, brings tears of joy and happiness. Yeah, Isabel, how about you?
Thank you so much, Yao. Um, just as the video was playing, what resonated or came alive for me is this notion that during the civil rights movement, that nonviolence was kind of like one of the underpinnings, and that to know that that was something that was learned, that you have to practice, that you have to um, really cultivate. And so here's what resonates for me around Dr. King. I keep this quote everywhere I go. I have it as a reminder, as a grounding, as a pillar to return to when I'm feeling disconnected. And I'm gonna just say a little bit and I think it was last week. I'm not working, so my days are kind of like a little convoluted. But last week when Tato was here, one of the things that she says in her writing is that silence comes in many forms, and that we must distinguish attune and engage from dissociate silence. And so this quote from Dr. King sort of speaks to that to me. And Tato goes on to say that attuned silence holds, it stays in the room. It for me, it's kind of like the glue that brings us together, as opposed to the associative silence that pulls us apart. And so Dr. King in this quote says, "We are tied together in a single garment of destiny, caught in an inescapable network of mutuality. And whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. For some strange reason, I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. And you can never be what you ought to be until I am what I ought to be. This is the way God's universe is made. This is the way it is." And he said, "This is the way it is structured." But I just like to say, this is the way it is. And it's that remembering that's sort of like connecting with, that we are interrelated and interconnected. That's important to me. And I think that when I connect Tato presentation last week at Dr. King to this time, what comes to me that in the silence, and Rachel is going to say a little bit more about this, I hope, is that I have to notice when I am coming into that silence out of detachment, out of fear, out of not understanding what's happening, and when I'm coming into that silence out of attunement, out of connection, out of wanting to embrace, just like Yao, sort of like, so it's not just me with myself, but it's myself with others. And the other thing that I want to say that Dr. King says, and this is from his last Christmas sermon, soon before he died, he says, it really boils down to this, that all life is interrelated. He doesn't say this life, just like you heard it. You can't have one without the other. He says the Negro needs the white man, and the white man needs the Negro, and it's that interrelatedness that I think that draws me more and more to the teachings, and how even in this setting, in this the helper group, this came about. This truly came about during COVID. And we may not have been able to survive COVID if we didn't have each other at that time, right? We were all in isolation, but we had this. Every Monday, we had this, the collective experience of being together in healing, in connection, in creating change, not only for ourselves, but also for others. And so that we come together to, I don't want to say to celebrate, because I don't think that I'm celebrating anything. I'm coming together here to be reminded of the teachings and the what Dr. King really, really was inviting us to be, and that is to be with the interconnectedness, the interrelatedness, that we cannot rise without someone else supporting us and taking us up. Um, I'm just gonna stop there, but I want to add this to thank you, Yao. I want to make this connection um, in the practice of my personal meditation practice in the tradition of Vipassana. There's something that is called Sila, Sila, and it's ethical conduct, right? And that's the translation. Um, but for me, the ethical conduct about this time, this particular time here in the United States and in someplace else, because suffering it's all over, is how can I be um, aware and alert and engaged and still practice in some way nonviolence, even towards myself, because I can fall into the blaming and shaming that I'm not doing enough, that I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. And so keeping that in the forefront, it's important for me. Um, Thank you, Lynn, because you put this together with joy. And I just want to reference something that Jao said at the beginning before everyone came on, um, and echo something that Rachel says. So Rachel say, this is my guy. And I think he's everyone, guys, whether you are Black, um, African American, from the African diaspora, whether you are Asian or European, someone that rises up the plea and the suffering of others. It's everyone, guy. So just wanted to say that. Thank you so much. And now I'll step back.
That was great.
I will just say a couple of words about I'm really impacted by silence and how it can stonewall and separate us. It can be a way of disengaging, as Isabel was, resonating with what we discussed last week. It can be a way of being separate, it can be a way of protesting, but silence, when it's shared, can be so prayerful and can be a way of joining together. And just from Yao, from your clip, seeing that river of black, it looked like mostly black men, but black people walking, it didn't look like there was a word. But in their silence and in this nonviolence, and our words can be violent and, often are, but there's something about this silence that can be very joining, and where the experiences I've had in being in silence with others, where we're all for the same thing, whether it's in the planetarium, I think that's a sort of temple for me, and also in synagogue, in churches, when there is silence, there's a together. There can be a really beautiful togetherness that seems to have been part of this movement, and what Martin Luther King Jr. brought us. So, like everything, silence can be used for joining, or sometimes for, the silent treatment is like that's not a nice facial treatment. It's and yet when we come together, and if somebody's passed, you're quiet, you're softer when you come into a gathering to be together. So that's all.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rachel. If you could also to Christine, play the 47 seconds, which complements what Rachel shared with us. And I also want to read from the chat from our dear Clara, who's also too part of the early starts of Help for Helpers and Force, along with so many others. But she wrote in here, "Sing to me in the silence of your heart, and I will rise up to hear your triumphant song." Rumi.
Some thought that Howard Thurman was almost a saint, and others thought that he was something almost mystic about him.
I think a lot of people just don't understand the power of silence, and he certainly is the one to encourage it with his meditations, how good it is to center down or in quietness and confidence. He felt like that each of us has our own particular connection with spirit, or the spirit within. Listen to your own inner voice.
The sound of the genuine. There is something within you, right, that rest within you that only you have. But can you hear that unique sound?
Ah, wonderful. Let's just breathe that in. Let's just be with this. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. I'm going to keep saying this throughout our time together today. Thank you for showing up. Help for Helpers. I'm going to pass the baton on to Lynn.
I'm going to piggyback a couple of comments from Katerina. So let's pass the baton to Katerina.
Thank you. Putting me in order. I appreciate that. Let's get us in order. Katerina, please.
Yes, there's been several focusing sessions that I've been deeply part of this past week, and focusing for nonviolence in a contemporary way is so much about protection, protecting what is precious, protecting someone who may be under a possible threat. And each instance has been so very unique. Some of the focusing would develop into movement, into marching to protect. Others would have a kind of umbrella sweeping, hovering form to protect the person or the thought or what it is that we are wanting to protect non-violently. And there are structural forms as well. There's a program called bystander intervention and how we can protect everyone in a situation where there is potential violence. So we'll continue perhaps a whole help for helpers on this theme, and let's listen to the piggyback from Lynn.
I just wanted to say that I have a tradition of going to Middle Collegiate Church for Martin Luther King's birthday. And I was so inspired yesterday by the service. And with your permission, I'm going to send it to you when it's online. But I thought of what Katerina had said because they did a little training in the service, and they talked about how in the Black church, the nonviolent training was done in church. It wasn't a separate thing. It was a way of worship. And this little training was about what to do if we see someone being approached by an ICE officer. How can we protect in New York? How can we protect our immigrant friends, and how can we protect ourselves? And it was I will send it to you, but it was very strengthening for me. Like we can find new ways to participate in nonviolent protest. And I love the idea that nonviolent protest is protection. And I love the idea of protection, that we can protect each other, not as much as we want to, but we can act, and we can do that together. So I don't know all of the places that we're all from today, and what kinds of protection people need and what kinds of protection we need. But that idea that protection is a contemporary version of protest is really strengthening for me.
Some things resonated with me with what you said with memories, but I also noted that Clara had her hand up. So
Thanks, Yao. I just wanted to ask you, Lynn, if you could just say a tiny bit more about protection and what we can do, because I know so many of us so often feel such helplessness. And I would love to hear a couple of words of inspiration of what you can share with us about Jackie's sermon or.
I don't know how to condense that, but just the idea. I mean, what struck me was the spirit of protection, the spirit of protecting ourselves and protecting each other, and the spirit of being together, that we are together in this protective space that is a nonviolent space. I mean, one little thing, for example, that if someone is being questioned by an ICE officer, to just quietly ask the person who's being questioned for their emergency contact number, because that little act of, if you can, getting the telephone number of that person and calling their people can be a very, very big help. Just little things like that. But that idea of just quietly protecting was very important to me. But I will send it to you.
Okay, thank you, Lynn.
Oh, and I could say on February 8th, there'll be a whole service about training for protection. And of course, it will be online. So I'll let you know. And anybody in New York, I'm going to go to that. And many of the members of my family that are caring for Ellen are immigrants without protection, and we'll all come together. And anybody in New York who wants to come to that on February 8th, let me know.
Thank you so much. I wanted to share that just real briefly. When you spoke about the connection of the Black church, okay, look, almost everybody in SCLC, Southern Christian Leadership Council Conference, were ministers, preachers, pastors. So the church was really, really important, and historically, the church has been the place where, during slavery, that was maybe the one place that we can be alone by ourselves, because, all right, let them worship God, and that's okay. But as a member in 68, 69, 70 of the NAACP Youth League, and how we were trained as I was 13, 14. People were not kind to even children. Integration, protesting, peacefully. So we had to learn how to make our bodies limp. We had to learn how to endure some of the most harshest verbal onslaughts. We had to learn how to, and they used the balloons filled with water, because people would throw stuff at us. They would throw urine. They would throw dog feces. They would spit on us. And we were told, we were trained not to go back and give it back to them like that. How do you do that? Right? How do you do that and not lose your dignity? So this whole thing about protection, because the protest is about protecting the community. And we're doing this to learn how to protect also our right to speak out, our right to seek justice. So thank you so much. It just took me back into the basement of the churches and how the songs were so important. The rhythm. We would leave from there, oh my gosh, head up straight, spine erect, as was alluded in one of the clips, that feeling like, yes, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We could really get hurt. Think about parents who let their children go out like that. What the fear was for them. So just thank you so very much for raising that.
I just want to say, yeah, I had a conversation yesterday with a friend who was saying, you teach people to talk to each other across difference. Well, that's very hard. I don't think we should have to do that. I don't think we should have to listen to people saying things that make us sick and things that hurt us. And how can you listen to that? And I was saying to this friend, well, I would rather actually listen to somebody who's saying something hurtful to me than to be spit on or to be clobbered on the head. I think that what's being asked of us nowadays, at least one thing, to really listen to people is in the same vein, but for me, not as difficult.
Rosa, I'm sorry, yeah. Can we go to Rosa? I just see has to say, and then Sophie will come to you. I see your hand up.
Yeah.
Is that okay? I'm just looking out while you guys are engaging.
No, I was actually going to call on her too. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Rosa, you go ahead if that's okay, and then Sophie will come to you.
Yeah, I was just very, 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 very moved by what Lynn said. I've had similar thoughts before that listening to people who are saying something that we may not agree at all with or may find morally repugnant even or whatever, but listening and attempting to understand well, I'll just bring in a nonviolent communication frame here, an NVC frame, trying to understand what deeper needs they might be attempting to fill. And so trying to respond in an empathic way, not necessarily to the content of their words, but to, maybe they're really afraid and so they're lashing out, or maybe they really, et cetera, et cetera. But this work seems so much in the spirit of, and yet so much less onerous than having to, sit there while people are pouring ketchup on you or throwing dog poop at you or whatever. So yeah, I really feel that sense of that this is a parallel process and yet relatively gosh, like yeah, we need to become able to do this. But what I originally wanted to say was something else. I am deeply, deeply, deeply moved to hear about Howard Thurman, and I need to say that I really want to read more about him, and I have not yet. But the very first time, he was not honored in the history books as much as Martin Luther King Jr. And the first time I came across a quote by him was in a very apparently different context. And I was like, oh, who is this person? Is that pretty famous quote that's gone around that says, don't ask what the world needs from you. Ask what makes you come alive, because the world needs more people who have come alive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I remember going, whoa, who is that person?
Mm-hmm.
And then realizing that this person is someone who had been so committed to nonviolence and to spiritual discipline and all of that. And so I'm thinking of that right now in these times and what the world needs from us now, and connecting it with what Lynn said about, maybe asking someone, what is your emergency contact number? And being able to call somebody and let that person know that this person, has been apprehended. It's like, what makes us come alive does not need to be some huge, grand, and glorious thing. It might be providing support and childcare to the people of to the family of somebody who's been in prison, right? It's like there's so many different ways that we can contribute. And I really feel that each of us is needed. And so, which brings me to this quote of, what is it that makes you come alive? Because I think we need to be participating out of joy, right? Rather than out of guilt or what should I do or whatever. And Yao's image of people coming out of these church services with spine straight and joy in their heart, it's like, yeah, 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 yeah. So thank you all.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Rosa. Thank you.
I think it's Sophie now. And after Sophie, may I say something? Because I have to go, guys, to PT.
Do you want to say something now, Isabel? I can go after you, so you're not rushed.
I'll be very quick.
Mhm.
And Clara, this is in relationship to what you asked about. How do we protect ourselves? And I think that Rosa, it's part of what you're saying. Where do I find joy in these moments, right? Because I can maybe change the entire moment, what's going on, but where do I find the joy? And I'm just gonna share this very, very quickly. Um, this is where I find joy. So last night I was truly, truly overwhelmed and with what's going on, especially what's happening in Minnesota. And so I did this little piece, and these are the colors of the African American flag and also many African country. And the colors are grounded on pride, unity, and liberation. And that offered to me such a space to be grounded in those three pillars: pride, unity, and liberation. And just seeing how I can embody that in this moment. Liberation, not just for me, but for all beings. Pride in, the people that are going out on the street and putting themselves in harm's way. And the unity that I see, I mean, the many different faces that you see out there demonstrating and coming together. And there's people who are coming just to bring hot chocolate, to bring hot, hand warmer. And so just wanted to share that. And thank you, Rosa, for saying maybe the way I can contribute is to babysit someone kid that when they have to go to court or they have to go find out what their family is. And I'm 9 o'clock and I have to go. I had knee replacement surgery, so I have to go to my therapy. But I just want to say this is one of the ways in which I protect myself by being in a community where there are like-minded people. And I know that, as Dr. King say, we are all in this together, whether we know it or not. This is not a one-person show. Thank you so much. Yao, much love. Clara, I'm hugging you from a distance and I love you. Annette, happy to see you. Happy to see everyone, and may you all be well. Thank you.
Walk good, dear one. Walk good.
Thank you.
Yes,
Bye.
good appointment to you, Isabel, for your knee
Yes. Bye.
healing. Yes.
Bye.
I just wanted to say that in the whatever it's called, the chat, I put some more resources from another peace activist. Her name is Valerie Kaur, and she has built a movement that's called Revolutionary Love, and she has built it since quite a while, but it's very strong right now. And she's from the Sikh tradition, and she was trained as a lawyer, so she's a she knows a lot about legal stuff, and she is doing it peacefully. And with her heart. She's very in her heart and emotions. And it's good to see a woman. Anyhow, so I put her email, and in her email, at some point there is some pretty extensive information about different ways that you can be involved in different layers. And I just want to say also that it was Thich Nhat Hanh's memorial 4-year anniversary yesterday.
Oh.
And there was, of course, a ceremony that was that I'm sure is still available if some of you wants to see. There was one from Pelham Village, so in English and French, and there's some more from here in English. And the way what we are saying here resonate very much with his work, his engaged peace work, and how connected he was with Martin Luther King, who nominated him for the Peace, how's this called? Peace Award.
Nobel Peace Prize,
Thank
maybe?
you, Nobel Peace Prize, which he didn't get. I can't believe that there someone like that do not get that. There is also, some of you may have seen that, a peace walk started by monks, I think 80 days ago, and they have been walking in peace and speaking to the crowd who come. You can find them on Facebook. They are followed by millions of people, and they are teaching mindfulness and how to create peace within, because very much the message of Thich Nhat Hanh was peace is the way, there is no way to peace. So we need to start here in the way we speak, in the way we don't speak, the vibration that we send. We are like a radio, or the light that is in the sea. It's called phare in French. A lighthouse, if we speak or don't speak. So engaged silence is so important. So thank you very much for everybody to be there, for Yao and Isabel and Katarina and Christine and Lynn to present.
Thank you, Sophie. Yes,
Thank
yes.
you so much, Sophie.
We
And
have a
thank you for putting those resources in there. Really appreciate that. And just mentioning Thich Nhat Hanh and MLK Jr. In the same breath, because that's where they were. That's the resonance. That's the resonance. It's global. I've noticed Marvin's hand up, and I want to acknowledge Marvin if you want to speak. Thank you.
your microphone, Marvin. We don't hear you.
Thank you, Katarina. Hi, everyone, and thank you, Yao. I heard you saying at some point in time, silence of the heart. And what came to me is that there seems to be a silence of the sure and a silence of the unsure. Like a silence of the sure would be the silence of certainty, and the silence of the unsure would be the silence of uncertain. And listening to the exchange, I'm not sure where we are between liberation and reconciliation. I can feel a movement, but I'm not sure where we are between liberation and reconciliation.
I love that. That really invites focusing, doesn't it? Reconciliation and liberation. And Marvin, you're the first person, I think, it might be I'm wrong, that isn't in the US speaking. And I'm wondering how people from all other places are experiencing our reflections on Martin Luther King. Do you resonate? People in other places, are you saying, well, I don't know what you people are talking about?
We do have like a model through Martin Luther King, like an inspiration, even though we're far from it. But people will refer to him in various circumstances. It doesn't matter from which side of society. So there would be a deep, not only appreciation, but I would say nearly a requirement, like, but the kind of personage that we need to be able to build ourselves, to create momentum, to create understanding. Yeah.
So, Marvin, is that in relation to the inner development goal that you speak?
No, not necessarily. I'm talking about from experience, where he has been referred to, the videos has been shown, his voice has resonated in halls, recording of his voice. Yeah, it's more about being present in those moments. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about in Asia or in other places that we represent? I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but that was just what I was thinking, that this is that we're talking about nonviolence and we're talking about racism, and racism is, and nonviolence, so complex and mysterious in a way. Like what? People with brown skin are less than people with white skin? That's crazy. I mean, if you really think about it. And I know that it isn't just the US, that it's that racism is a strange, crazy issue that humanity has. I think of a friend of mine who says that humans are a flawed species. And I always argue with him in my mind. And he thinks that animals are much, much better. And I watched this interview with Jane Goodall with her study of the apes, and she thought that apes were so much better than humans. And then she was living with these apes, and this group of apes moved away down the river, and soon after that, the original group massacred them. They were now different. They were now the enemy, and murdered them. And I was thinking, well, it isn't that the apes are better. It's like we're all coming from very, very we haven't quite made that step that Gene Genlin talks about, of the evolutionary step of relating. And we still feel somehow that difference is dangerous and that we have to kill off the differences in so many ways.
Oh, Lynn, I just want to add, and Eric, I see your hand. We're going to come to you right after. I just wanted to add that I'm struck as we talk about and hearing from the video that we're all connected, whether we like it or not. It reminds me of God is okay whether you believe in him or not, or God is loves you whether or not you believe in him. I just love that notion. But also Jenlin saying, this isn't the exact quote, of course, but that each of us, there's only one of each of us in all the universe. And I think, Rosa, what you just shared about what makes you come alive, because the world needs our aliveness. That quote from Thurman, I think. And then this notion of each of us having this uniqueness and also being interconnected. Both of those are so vital, and that interconnectedness, that really leaning into that, is sort of the antidote to that difference being dangerous. So with that, over to you, Eric. I yield the floor to my good fellow Eric.
Thank you. So, Yao, when you were speaking of the function of the Black church and how you would rise up and your head would be held high. And interestingly, I'm a long-time Buddhist practitioner, but I find myself slouching. I was taught not to slouch. And in this meeting, in your presence, and Yao and Isabel, I just spontaneously straightened up. I didn't do that. And when Isabel was talking, I mean, I'm a student now. I'm a second year grad student in counseling. I just felt the relational alliance, what it is, that it's the essence of what enables change. And in my training of Taoist energetic medicine, I'm relating back, Lynn, to what you said about protection. We studied how at conception, what are called the protectors come up from the earth. The corporeal soul and the divine soul comes down from what's called Taoist heaven at conception. And the protectors from the earth are like shamanistic power, superpower, actually, has the power to make us ill, to take our life, to create any symptom. And like my ears went up like a rabbit or a dog, and I'm going, that's important. Because in this medicine, we treat the underlying emotion, the underlying spirit, the underlying energy, the root. What's the root? Under. And yeah, when you were talking about the experience in the church, it reminded me of something my Buddhist teacher Chogyam Trungpa taught, the outrageous ultimate strength. The outrageous ultimate strength that is our nature. And I have to listen to what my internal protectors are doing, because they have the power to make me procrastinate, to make me depressed, to do many, many things that shut me down. And through different approaches, I talk to them, I hold them, I connect with them, I invite them, I praise them. I tell, I love them. I tell them that I love them. And they have the power to strengthen my heart and my spirit. That's inside me. And one of my very favorite things to do, I live alone. I work with aloneness, occasionally loneliness, mostly not so much. I love to go to the grocery store that's 2 blocks away, just to see who's open, who has light in their eyes, who has warmth in their energetic field. And as I'm talking about it, my cells are starting to come alive. And I always find them. I always find them. And I've received something here that is so good. The Negro needs the white person, and the white person needs the Negro. Now, I feel that in my heart. And I look at people of color with longing. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? I'm this entitled white guy, highly educated. I've never been hungry. I have every advantage. I feel like I'm going on a long rant. I'll try to reel it in. In my schooling, my university was created in Colorado. It's an online program for multiculturalism. Every single assignment we receive has a multicultural contemplation. It has just blown my mind. Like every time I see a woman, I go, man, she's just been crapped on from the moment she was conceived in this culture. And like I'm in this world of difference and of being downtrodden. Someone's being downtrodden, and I downtrod myself. And there's something that has the power to expand presence and love. And it's not me, but it's also happens through me. And I don't attend my Tibetan Buddhist community. I don't want to be critical. I don't want to judge, but I don't feel them. They're busy attaining something. I don't want to judge. But here, I feel you. I feel you. I want to go to your church. And I want to get up at 4 a.m. for you in Oregon and feel like I can come home.
Thank you.
Amen, Eric, to the Church of Help for Helpers. Truly thinking.
I think if we want to do breakout rooms, this might be our last opportunity. Shall we do breakout rooms for 15 minutes, and then we'll come back and Rachel's going to read us a poem, and we'll be set for that.
Lynn, I need to leave. I have a 9:30 client, but it was so beautiful to be with all of you.
Claire.
And I hope to make it back again too. And I'll be in touch with you, Lynn and Yao and
Rachel, because Clara, so good to see you.
Love you guys.
Love
Miss you.
Miss
Great.
you.
Bye-bye.
I want to hear how your son is doing.
Oh, okay. We'll be in touch for sure.
Okay. Bye-bye.
So much love.
Have a good breakout room. We're all going off on our adventure now, our 15-minute adventure. Yeah, were you in a breakout room?
Absolutely, I was. It was wonderful. with Mary and Sophia. Sophie, Mary, please speak on.
We were resonating, like the tempura I'm playing, resonating without having the string even having to be played. It's just happening.
I was just going to say music is also another way to speak across difference.
Yes.
So lovely.
Yes, that's so true. Yeah, don't you have one of those gong things that resonates that reminded me of that, those bowls that you tap it and it.
Sure. Hey,
Singing bowl.
I'll reach for it, but I know Rosa wanted to say something.
Yes.
Well, I was just delighted to be with Susan and Jim. It was like old times, and Susan had something she said which was amazing, and I just want to yield the floor, but not put you on the spot.
That's
No.
always my problem is knowing how to yield the floor without putting somebody else on the spot.
That was tricky, Rosa. Okay, so it's started with Rachel, who's gone, saying something about how we're all Jenlyn said how we're all unique. And then it was Eric's talk, the way you talked. Just I felt Eric. And what Jenlyn was talking about was in this wonderful words that he used, you know, how we're unique like snowflakes. But he said when anybody talks from down there, everybody knows and really listens differently. And they recognize, we all know that's the person, the unique and the universal at the same time. I mean, and how they're not, well, this is me thinking, they're not like either or different poles, but penetrating each other. So you can't separate. I find that so comforting. And that's accessible to all of us. Maybe it's not accessible, but it's it's there somehow.
It's there and we know it's there, even if it's not accessible.
Yeah, even if it's not. It's a very comforting thought to me. So that was what I said, right, Rosa? That was so good.
Yeah, I mean, what I heard you say is that when we speak from down there, right, from that place Jean called down there, we are speaking from our own unique individual truth. And we all have this down there place. So we're all drawn and we listen. So it's like both individual and universal. And I was just blown away. So I was like, I really want you to share that with the larger group, Susan. Thank you so much for doing that.
Beautiful. Does anybody else have something to share before we have our poem?
Very special poem from Rachel.
Just a small PS. I just want to say to Eric, I don't know if you got it, but Susan was speaking about you and how deeply you had shared when you spoke from down there. So I just wanted to make sure that you had received that because it was lovely.
Yes, the zigzag of Eric, both the horizontal sharing and the vertical resources that he brought from the Dharma practice. I like that roundedness of how to speak, Eric. And the poem is from Langston Hughes. So Rachel will tell us about it. We've had Langston Hughes before at Help for Helpers, so it's special to have him back.
Well, you may not have known this, but Langston Hughes is Rachel's poet. She's sharing her poet with us.
Yes, I will let him speak for himself, but I went to a private Jewish school and we each had a poet, and I think we were studying civil rights and really like the African American struggle and so forth. And I fell in love with him and had to memorize one of his poems, but this is a different poem. I hope you love it. Also, Langston Hughes was born in 1902 and died in 1967. So I feel like he speaks Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., as well as America. This poem is called Let America Be America Again. Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain seeking a home where he himself is free. America never was America to me. Let America be the dream the dreamers dreamed. Let it be that great strong land of love, where never kings connive nor tyrants scheme, that any man be crushed by one above. It never was America to me. Oh, let my land be a land where liberty is crowned with no false patriotic wreath, but opportunity is real and life is free. Equality is in the air we breathe. There's never been equality for me, nor freedom in this homeland of the free. Say, who are you that mumbles in the dark? And who are you that draws your veil across the stars? I am the poor white, fooled and pushed apart. I am the Negro bearing slavery's scars. I am the red man driven from the land. I am the immigrant clutching the hope I seek and finding only the same old stupid plan of dog eat dog, of mighty crush the weak. I am the young man full of strength and hope, tangled in that ancient endless chain of profit, power, gain, of grab the land, of grab the gold, of grab the ways of satisfying need, of work the men, of take the pay, of owning everything for one's own greed. I am the farmer, bondsman to the soil. I am the worker sold to the machine. I am the Negro, servant to you all. I am the people, humble, hungry, mean. Hungry yet today, despite the dream. Beaten yet today. O pioneers, I am the man who never got ahead, the poorest worker battered through the years. I am the one who dreamt our basic dream in the old world while still a serf of kings, who dreamt a dream so strong, so brave, so true, that even yet its mighty daring sings in every brick and stone and every furrow turned, that's made America the land it has become. Oh, I'm the man who sailed those early seas in search of what I meant to be my home. For I'm the one who left Dark's Ireland's shore and Poland's plain and England's grassy lea, and torn from Black Africa's strand I came to build a homeland of the free. The free? Who said the free? Not me. May I go on? It's just a little bit more.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Can't leave us there.
Okay, I didn't want to. I just know it's getting late. Who said the free? Not me. Surely not me. The millions on relief today, the millions shot down when we strike, the millions who have nothing for our pay, for all the dreams we've dreamed and all the songs we've sung and all the hopes we've held and all the flags we've hung. the millions who have nothing for our pay except the dream that's almost dead today. Oh, let America be America again, the land that never has been yet, and yet must be, the land where every man is free. The land that's mine, the poor man's, Indians, Negroes, me, who made America, whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand at the foundry, whose plow in the rain, must bring back our mighty dream again. Sure, call me any ugly name you choose. The steel of freedom does not stain. From those who live like leeches on the people's lives, we must take back our land again, America. Oh yes, I say it plain. America never was America to me. And yet I swear this oath, America will be. Out of the rack and ruin of our gangster death, the rape and rot of graft and stealth and lies, we, the people, must redeem the land, the mines, the plants, the rivers, the mountains and the endless plain, all the stretch of these great green states, and make America again.
Oh, beautiful. Wow. Yes. That's
Thank
very,
you.
very, very beautiful and a wonderful way of ending our Martin Luther King meeting today. So we will see you next week. And thank you so much, Yao. And thank you so much, Katerina. And thank you so much, Rachel. And of course, our Isabel, who's suffering in her PT now. See you next week.
Thank you all so very much. Be
Thank
well.
you. Happy birthday, Martin Luther King. And Lynn, tomorrow, you.
And tomorrow, me,
Happy
Martin
birthday.
Luther
Thank you, Lynn. Happy
King, is going
birthday.
to share his birthday with me. Bye-bye now.